All right, just wanted to welcome in, as we do every single week, the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. And this is the last one of the regular season. Just a couple of days left, and we're getting absolute chaos around the entire league on both the American League and the National League side. John, I want to start on the National League side. We had the biggest series of the year, Braves and Mets, and first game happened, Braves win. And then next thing you know, postponed the last two games. And now, as long as they're necessary, they're going to be playing a doubleheader back in Atlanta on Monday. My first question to you about that is when you saw this coming together and first heard, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, living here and trying to play golf yesterday was not a lot of fun. So the weather was definitely an impact, and that was, to say the least. It is so unfortunate that this has come to be because the one team that is actually really happy about this is the Milwaukee Brewers. they they potentially benefit from these two teams fighting for a playoff
Yeah.
spot and using resources they never intended to use. And it really is unfortunate. But like baseball and like everything, you just got to go out, execute, put yourself in the best chance to be in and keep playing. And that's what these two teams are going to have to do possibly on Monday.
So again, just to set it all up for those that aren't super aware, the series is postponed, meaning doubleheader back in Atlanta on Monday. So obviously, whoever ends up getting in that 5 seed is going to be really in a tough spot. But before we even talk playoffs, who do you think this hurts more? I don't think it's ideal for anyone involved in terms of Mets, Braves. But who do you think? Braves had Sale and Fried going against the Mets in that Wednesday, Thursday. The Mets have now a brutal travel schedule. They have to leave Atlanta, go to Milwaukee, then back to Atlanta, then wherever a potential playoff game is going to be played. And now there's the Royals, who now have to get Sale and Fried instead of whoever they were going to get. And the Royals are fighting for their lives on the AL side of things.
Yeah, I've always voted for chaos, but in a different way. I wanted like a four-way tie for the last spot. But when you think about what the travels the Mets are going to have to make, it probably gives them a bigger disadvantage. Even though they have a one-game lead, they can take care of business this weekend and possibly not make Monday matter.
Mhm.
But they also could have stayed in Milwaukee, right? If they were to win and be the final wild card,
Yeah,
they would play Milwaukee.
good point.
So it's a little bit of a craziness that I'm sure these teams know how to navigate it and give them the best chance to be successful.
Yeah. So as we currently sit now, these these episodes come out on Saturday. We're recording just a little bit earlier than that, but standings won't be too much different. What six wild card teams do you think ultimately end up making the playoffs? We have the Padres and the Orioles already in. So let's start on the National League side of things. You got the Padres, and what two do you think are going to get in?
Yeah, I mean, this is chaos because the Diamondbacks, of course, what they did last year gives them a leg up on just these kind of games mattering. And so do the Braves. So when you think about the teams that are in
Hmm.
and the teams that are playing the teams that are in that can't change, maybe Arizona gets that benefit because San Diego, I believe those two played the last three games. They don't have the importance and or the change, so maybe they don't use their resources.
Yeah.
So Arizona gets kind of a now for the Mets. They're playing Milwaukee, and I don't think much can change for them. Although there's a slight possibility if things were to fall that they could get some kind of a best record, but I think that's pretty much a 1%. So they don't have a lot
Yeah.
other than they're going to want to stay locked in for the playoffs in the next round. So I think Atlanta has the hardest road because they're playing a team, like you said, in Kansas City that needs to keep winning.
The good news for both the Braves and the Mets is that they hold, if there is a three-way tie, they hold the tiebreaker over the Diamondbacks. Both of them do. So that could come into play. What about, so on the American League side of things, we have the Orioles in already. The Orioles limped into the playoffs. They have not been playing great baseball over the last really couple of months. But Orioles, and then it's really going to come down. There's still, we have the Tigers, we have the Royals, we have the Twins, and then we have the Mariners still there lingering as well. So do you see, who do you see getting in there?
Kind of the same scenario, right? Orioles are locked.
Yep.
They do want to keep playing a little bit better because they learned from last year. I believe they're playing the Tigers. So this is a miracle. I just don't know any other way to describe what the Tigers are doing.
I don't either.
And,
I
you
love it,
know,
but I don't know.
being being from there, they got all the momentum in the world. They've got all the energy working for them. The Twins have been fighting uphill. They won a big game the other night. They were trailing early. So it's going to come down to Sunday. When things come down to Sunday, that is good baseball theater.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting absolute, well, like you said, I always root for chaos, but I wish it was like scheduled in chaos. I don't love that we're gonna get this.
Yeah.
I love the chaos that's gonna happen from Monday, but unfortunately, it's gonna really set somebody back in terms of what they have to do the following day. I mean, what if you're the league, and this is just I haven't even put a ton of thought into this, but I'm just talking to you about this here. If you're the, is there anything that can be done for the team if they have to play both games on Monday and then immediately travel to play perhaps Milwaukee or whoever the following day? The Braves, for instance, would have to probably 5 games in 4 days if one of theirs gets rained out this weekend. The Mets four, and the same thing. They'll be at a massive disadvantage and won't have a starter on usual rest. Is there anything that can be done, or is it just kind of wear it? You got to do what you got to do.
I guess they could push the next series back one day, and then there would be the travel day would be gone for the team going to the next series.
Yeah.
And in theory, you'd still have that off day if the team won in 2 games because it's a best of three. So you could push back the Brewers series. I don't know if they will because
Uh-huh.
then it's kind of like, well, if you're the Brewers, you're like, hey, this impacts us when we were the benefactor. So
Yeah.
it's a tough call. And the one thing that you kind of hope if you're not wanting so much of a disadvantage for either the Braves or the Mets, you hope it comes down to just the first game
Yeah.
and you don't have to play the second game. That would be the ideal situation, but I don't know if it'll work out that way.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Lastly, for you here today, John, a couple days ago, the Pittsburgh Pirates DFA'd Rowdy Tellez. Now, I wouldn't normally ask you about this, but the reasoning is because obviously signed a 1 year deal. There's a lot of incentive bonuses and contracts, and Rowdy Tellez had a $200,000 incentive bonus at 425 plate appearances. With 5 days left in the season, the Pirates DFA'd him, and he was 4 plate appearances short of his $200,000 incentive. They're out of the playoffs. There's, in my opinion, no need. What are we DFAing this guy for? I can't see a world in which it's not about this incentive bonus. But one, did you see this? And two, what are your thoughts here?
I didn't see it, but it infuriates me, but I'm
Yeah.
not surprised. So that's the problem in our industry when you are not in control over some of your bonuses that can be manipulated. And we've seen history of this. Pittsburgh's not the only team, but certain teams fall into that category where they're the teams that are going to do it. And for a player who's been so important to them all year, and it's not like it's 200 at bats, it's 400 and some at bats. That's the problem with some of these contracts that drive me crazy. And when they can be controlled, it's unfortunate. I hate it for him.
Yeah.
And, for other people, maybe playing there, maybe they've learned a lesson.
Yeah. I mean, that was going to be another thing, another question for you is, I mean, this as a player has to affect. I mean, this has become big news. Everybody has seen this, and especially the social media world, players know about this now. And you would think if you're a player that's not the top upper echelon of elite contracts, that you're looking to sign a 1 year deal with or 1 or 2 year deal with multiple different teams. I mean, you have to think this stuff matters. You have to think players see this and say, I don't want to be a part of an organization that would treat a player like that, right?
Well, it can't be positive news moving forward in that direction. I totally agree. I think
Yeah.
these are scenarios that you have to when you're selecting and going over and hoping things are going to work out the way they're intended. So,
Yeah.
not a good look. And I understand it. If I had to represent both sides, I understand it, but it's still not a good look.
Yeah. So you've seen or heard of other organizations or anybody doing this to players where they're just on the doorstep of their incentive, and for whatever reason, whether they put them on the Phantom IL or DFA them or release them, they come up just short of that incentive.
In my memory, that now look, the one that most recently got rewarded for somebody that didn't make it was CC Sabathia, I believe, hit a player, got ejected, missed his quantifying innings pitched, but he was protecting a player, and the team rewarded him instead of saying that's just the way it works. And that's a different organization, different philosophy. And when you're in the penny pinching business and you're in the business of watching everything that goes out the door, which I get is every person's right,
Yeah.
you're going to be more apt to do these kind of things than not.
Yeah, absolutely. John, thank you as always, my friend. Absolute chaos coming down the line here in the last couple of days, and happy to be able to talk to you about it all before it happens. So I appreciate it, man, and stay safe in Georgia with all that weather. All right.
Absolutely. Look forward to next week.
All right. See you, John. All right. Just wanted to thank John Smoltz as always for joining us here on Flippin' Bats. I love chaos. I wish it was a little bit different chaos that we were coming with the Mets Braves still needing to play, but we're certainly getting chaos, and we'll see how it shakes out. But I'm really excited for the last couple days of the regular season. Playoffs right around the corner. This schedule for Flippin' Bats is probably going to look a little bit different in the playoffs. Hoping to have some more episodes coming out, but we'll keep you posted there on what that looks like and how we go about it. But playoffs are around the corner. Enjoy the last couple days of the regular season. We'll have an episode coming out at the beginning of next week, explaining everything, talking about the playoffs and the playoff bracket and all that good stuff. So thank you all for listening, watching. If you want to watch the Flippin' Bats YouTube channel, if you're just listening, Apple, Spotify, wherever, please make sure you're subscribed, following, leave a 5-star review, comment on the YouTube. Love hopping in the YouTube chat and commenting back and talking to everyone. And we're on all social media as well, at Flippin' Bats Pod there. So have a great weekend. Enjoy all the baseball. And until next time, my friends, remember, find your bat and flip it. Peace.